And then we're good there. Chop, chop, chop. And then we can cut this out. We don't need that in there anymore. I'm going to cut off my audio to the thing. All right, we're in here. So you're watching my screen right now, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm on right now. Excuse me, man. I hate to start the interview like that. What's up, everybody, man? I have Drew from Metafactory on with me right now. Very happy to have him on. We're gonna get to talking about a bunch of shit. It's gonna be wearables talk. We've got Genesis Plaza opening. It's gonna be really cool today. What's up, Andrew?
Hey,
Or Drew,
how are you,
excuse me.
man? Happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. I've been dying to talk to you. So I'm gonna reload into my scene first. I just want to show you the screen and how things are working as of right this second. Things are moving so fast right now that it seems like every day we have a new feature, and then I'm trying to implement that new feature into my build. So
That's good.
it's super innovative times, and it's sick. I woke up this morning remembering my interview or the roundtable that we did yesterday. So I get contacted the other day by Toonpunk, and he said, "Hey Frankie, we want you to run the stream for the roundtable we're gonna do with Sandeep from Matic, the CEO of Matic, right?"
Right. Yeah.
So like, awesome, hell yeah, obviously yes. So we set that all up. Me and the guys went up there. Hell yeah, you see the screen?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. So I say, yeah, cool. So we do the interview, and during the interview they start like announcing a bunch of like big announcements. Essentially, like we're gonna have hyperlinks. There's I can't. Matic is gonna be integrated at some point soon. They're gonna have trading in the Genesis Plaza exclusively for like, I think it's gonna be zero fees.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and if you take, I have the whole thing on my YouTube channel, on Fresh Off the Blockchain YouTube channel. You can check it out. So like, it's all up there anyway. So like, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So I woke up this morning like, hey, if hyperlinks are available, I'm doing that right now. You know. So
Yeah.
I hit up HP. HP has been like my sensei when it comes to coding and learning the Decentraland lingo for sure. So
Right.
I hit him up and I said, hey, like, what's up with the hyperlinks? And he gives me the gist of the code, and it wasn't crazy. So what I did was I integrated it. So this is so cool. Check this out. So now you walk up, you got the screen playing. We're talking. Let me see if I can put my picture there. I want to be on camera too. So you go to the screen, and then you hit the screen, and it gives you the link. And so what I did was I hooked it up to the casino website, because I am sponsored by the Tamanoya Casino and Decentral Games. So I just hooked it up. So they basically have just a link that just pops right up every time somebody clicks on it.
That's
So
awesome.
I think that I can probably get that a little better. So instead of it saying interact, I can probably get it to say something cooler than that. But this morning at 5 a.m, that's what I did. I also put another
That's
TV
awesome.
up here because eventually, see, look at that, I got it running this thing too, huh? That's funny. Um, Eventually, this is gonna be my buddy's stream. So what I did was I hooked him up. So
There you go. Yeah.
yeah, so you go straight to his stream.
Switch.
Yeah, so that'll be a whole nother project and stuff. So this is, like I said, super exciting times for Decentraland, man. But I can't. I'm so happy that you haven't seen Genesis Plaza, because your mind is about to be blown.
Yeah.
This,
I mean, I'm loving this. Like, obviously, like every time I'm popping back into the Central Land, I'm seeing new stuff, and like it's exciting to see the progression and
yeah,
like the development speed really pick up. Um,
yeah,
I think it's really important, obviously, to like keep the excitement, keep that cadence up for the excitement and like what's possible, and keeping the creators interested in playing with stuff like you guys, right? So
yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely. One thing I noticed was I'm gonna try to jump in like on the street level. Like I don't want to be in the middle of the plaza. Um, One thing I've noticed is wow, I'm spacing for a second here. Oh, I think that what was going on before was it was a lot more to do with governance and things like that, working out the DAO, and so
yeah,
I feel like the team actually coding and modeling is not that difficult for them. I think that the bigger deal was all the other things that needed to get put in place before they coded or modeled another thing, basally at the point that they were at.
The
You know?
politics, always,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I've
Yeah.
noticed. I mean, you know, because luckily I've been blessed to have this situation for myself. Now I don't know where on this land is like my DJ booth where I'm playing, but I'm showing up.
Somewhere,
I'm gonna stand here. I'm gonna
si-
be like, listen to me
6 minutes,
here.
6 minutes, you're on, man.
Yeah, for real. I love it though, man. I
Yeah,
love being on. You know. Hold on. So
yeah, it's and that's the thing too. Like the DAO, the distributed decentralized governance, it's super important.
mhm.
But it does slow the decision making process down naturally.
Exactly, exactly.
And so when you're talking about like this creative landscape and you want to keep moving fast and you want to keep like enhancing and evolving what's available, what's possible, those two things are essentially at odds. So
Yeah.
it's a constant battle. And yeah, you kind of have to find that even keel. Like even in a lot of like the DAO conversations I'm having, which like I'm a participant in many, the idea or like the I guess the involvement of a benevolent dictator or like a core group that's kind of like the steering committee, as long as there's like some measure of trust and faith, like that can actually be really beneficial too, at least as like a jump start. And also a lot of times you can like try and reach decisions like off chain in like a normal just like chatting in a Discord forum, for instance. Like can we come to a general consensus before we actually like put these proposals on chain, and so when like the voting occurs, most of the decision making is like already occurred. So there's it's really just because we have this technology, the problems are still fundamentally human, right? Like human coordination is always a challenge. Just because we have smart contracts and all these beneficial like tech
Gotta make us
tools,
smart
we
people,
still have to
right?
deal with all this politics. So
So I'm asking the community right now where the DJ booth is. I need to. Apparently, that's what we're broadcasting as far as the audio in Genesis Plaza. But I want you to get a look at it. Um, they literally gave it a complete facelift. Everything is brand new, and they have some ridiculously cool features here now. I don't remember where the DJ booth is. I know I
hold on.
saw it earlier. Hold on, let me see. I don't know. I'm just gonna walk around and keep asking people where the DJ booth is. But yeah, they got some ridiculously cool features here. So basically, they built all these structures, and all these structures have like a different theme, and they all have these NPCs that you can use. So like I think that this specific structure is about wearables, and so you
Nice.
have this thing, and that's great for the conversation, right? E to talk to him. So you hit E, you talk to this guy. He wants to know, would you like to learn more about wearables? Nope, I know everything. But no, because I'm just actually just trying to find something. But so basically, yeah, they have all these different structures that they built, and they're just like super advanced. Like, if you know how to build, like this shit is advanced, you
Right.
know. Um, but yeah, I just feel like I think the DJ booth is on top of something. So they have a bunch of these things on display. They have info on them. Like if you go to these things, there you go. It brings you to like the lowest priced one on the market. Like I mean, this stuff is crazy. Like the way they set it up, just I was like, wow, this is super impressive. Like every single one of these is the same thing. There's a link to the next to the lowest price one. Oh, I can't jump out the window. That's no
I
good.
love it, man. How do we get Metafactory gear in here?
So what I'm okay. So we have to take a look at that because I want to actually. That's good. Like I'm so happy I got you because I can just we can take a look at the documentation about that. And we get into how we're gonna get Metafactory in here. That's pretty much
Oh
about
yeah,
what's
yeah,
coming.
yeah. Not
You
to
know.
change convo.
No, of course. No, no. I'm saying like we're gonna get Metafactory in here for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
because I've been when I found out about your project. See, I had come up. I want to say come up with that idea, but more like I had thought about that, and I was like, man, what these guys are doing is what is so in line with what I want. That it's crazy, you know. And again,
And
same
it's
same idea here with like all these latest sales and latest numbers and stuff. Like it's so cool for a new user to walk in here with this. It's just it tells the whole story.
it's a
And
spatialized browser too, right? Like in
yeah,
the sense
I was saying it kind of feels like DCL plazas, but you're walking around it, you know. which is what we were supposed to be. In my brain, I didn't know they had the Bitcoin glasses up. Do these things change? I don't think those were here earlier. Oh no, this is like the highest. See, priciest legendary wearable sold in the last 30 days. This thing sold for almost 7,000 mana. So that's pretty fantastic because I am one of the big holders of those.
Benefits me.
Hey man, you gotta be selfish sometimes. I'm like, I do so much, like just community based things, but hey man, Bitcoin glasses is where I draw the line on being, community. I'm like, but yeah, I've been just like, I love there's so much information in these places that they've built. It's just wild. It blew my mind this morning. Could not believe what was going on here. But again, like, so when I found out about your project, what I originally was talking about, and it's so funny, again, like in the beginning, we're all like hoarding ideas, right? Because we're like, oh, like, I don't want somebody to steal my ideas. Now I'm to the point, I'm like, listen, man, I'm so busy. I couldn't even effectively execute any of these ideas. There's no way. Like, I became so busy in like 2 weeks that it was like, yeah, I'm not worried about the price. I'm not worried about the wearables. I'm not worried about anything. Only thing I'm worried about is doing what I'm doing, because what I'm doing, to me, is going to be much bigger than trading wearables or any of this other stuff. Which I'm not to belittle any of that. I love all of it, but I've put myself in a position to really do some things.
The Scarface reference. The world.
Yeah, I have actually. It's so funny that they have that. I'll show you something I had made, and I didn't make it. KJ Walker made it, and we sold it as a meta. We have it up as a meta, which I thought was funny that they had that there though, because I was like, man, I made they could have just asked me for this thing. I probably would have just donated it.
Well, it's cool. It's cool they're supporting.
Yeah. See, I made this thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so like this thing says DCL is yours, and it like does a spin around the world and stuff, and it's got like the DCL globe. So yeah, we had some fun with that. I put it up at really expensive because I kind of don't even want to sell it.
Yeah, hey, it's valuable to you, then you got to put the price right.
Well, you know what the thing was too is that's funny. When I made that, I was like not in the best financial situation, and then by the time that was made, I was in a much better financial situation. At that point, I didn't even care. I was like, let's put it up at a serious price, and let it be a prestigious thing to have. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine where some of these things are going to go from like asset or wearable pricing in the future too, right? Especially if they're like one of the OG minted.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of why I did that. Myself and Catherine have put ourselves in a great position to be like, I guess you would call us OGs, and, I figured there should be one thing that's like super exclusive, and so I decided that would be my exclusive item, the DCL is yours statue, it's pretty. I think this is the joint. I think this is no. I don't know where this DJ booth is. I know it exists. I think this is it. No, I think this is it. Let's take a ride. Hey, I think I found it. All right. Moment of truth. See if I can find my button. Signs. DCL interviews. Hey, DCL interviews. That's me.
Nice.
Ha. All right. I'm gonna check the sound on that real quick. I'll check it on my side though. I can do like. It's working. All right. Cool. So we're gonna hang out here for a little bit and see if anybody wants to come listen to us talk. Let me hold on.
It's exciting to see like people running around. I know like the plaza just opened up and stuff, but like a lot of times and like even just somewhat recently, it's like there hasn't been like a ton of people running around. So this is awesome.
This changed the game. I onboarded 2 people today.
Great.
Hold on a second. Yeah, I had a buddy that I had. So we had become pretty cool over the years. Or not, I wouldn't say years. I met him about a year ago, I guess. And in the beginning, when I first met him, I was working on Decentraland, and this is like the early days when I'm just buying land or like before wearables. Yeah, so I was just buying land, and I was coming up with my first ideas, right? And then I'm telling him about this world that I'm working on, and I was like, because he did music, and I'm like, hey man, like, you do music, I might have like something for you to work on in here, like I think that we're gonna be able to do some music things in the future. And then he, we stayed in touch, but I left that place that I was working at. I would like kind of miss him in conversation. Sometimes I would hit him up and I would be like, hey, like, I'm doing such and such, and he's like, yeah, cool, and we just missed each other, And so I finally caught him today, and I walked him around Decentraland, and he loved it to death. He was like, yup, in. So, and I put his stream up. He's a streamer. So one of my newest projects is I built a Axie team that does. I'm gonna put another announcement right here. I'm all these really cool features right now. Oh man, Metafactor, I guess.
I'll take it.
But yeah. I'm sorry, I kind of lost it. So yeah, I got him to come in. Look at all those guys. See all those guys up there in the hot air balloon, and see how it doesn't sink. And that actually is hilarious right now. They look like they're having a parade in the sky.
Yeah. They're being pushed by the...
Oh, that is too funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're mentioning your Axie team.
Thank you. I'm sorry. There's so much.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So I found Axie. Anorak really kind of got me into Axie. So, I found Axie and I was like, man, I'm no good at these kind of games, but my friends are animals. Like, literally, they're monsters at games like this. So I just had to convince them to do it. That was the hardest part about all this, was convincing them to turn the game on and look at it. You know what I'm saying? Because I bought it was my best friend and one of his closest friends as well, and one of our friends. We're all pretty close. So I got them some Axies. Hey, go to work. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything on my side. All I need you to do is play this game. Cool. Right? So they started looking into it, and then, it's like a crew of us. It's like 12, I would say 12, 15 of us that play video games on a regular basis all the time. We talk to each other. Our parties get pretty wild. Our parties get rowdy. Our parties get disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, we don't ever invite. Like, okay, for instance, I linked up with Anorak on Xbox. And I was like, Anorak, if you join one of my parties, don't think nobody's gonna be nice to you. Like, we're not nice. You
have to click this "not safe for work" button.
Literally, it's not a game in there. We've had so many other people come by that like didn't last a minute and a half. Somebody's cussing them out. It's so competitive, and we all, like, last night I got into it with a few of them, and I live it, like, because listen, I'm gonna talk shit the way I like to talk shit, and I'm not gonna apologize or hold punches and none of that. So whatever. We got into it with a couple of those guys, and the next day, hopefully everything's better. I don't know. I haven't talked to them yet, but we'll see. I don't, like I said, I speak my mind, and I'm always gonna be a person like that, and that's why most of us are so close,
Yeah, once they get over the L, they'll talk to you again, right?
That one wasn't. That one wasn't. I don't think it was about an L, but I think I don't know if I might have won Risk last night. I can't remember. We were playing Risk. That was fun.
It's funny, like on that piece of it too, though. It's when we're always behind these screens and we're like in these digital like proxies of ourselves, whether they be like avatar virtual world or like game avatars or game experiences. It's really easy to get like caught up and like kind of forget. It's like, yeah, we're all humans too. It's like the keyboard warrior, the troll, like kind of like that kind of stuff is like invited by like these experiences, which is like, and that's all part of it. And like, I welcome that as well. But there's definitely some aspect where it's just like that, like trying and like, it's actually takes me back to even like Snow Crash, right? Like the
Snow Crash.
Have you read? Oh man, if you haven't read Snow Crash, you got to read this book. So, Snow Crash is like the foremost like book on virtual worlds. In fact, the term metaverse comes and was coined by that author. The author's name
I can look it up right now. Why not?
Yeah,
We have the screen.
but and like what they talk about in the book is what changed it all from like this kind of like abstracted digital experience. Yeah, Neil Stevenson, that's right. What changed it was the invention of like super hyper realistic avatars and specifically like facial characteristics. So like all that like nonverbal communication that occurs when you're talking with someone, like their eyes light up or like the voice intonation or whatever it may be. Once they were able to actually introduce that at an avatar level in these virtual worlds, it changed everything because now it's like it's not this weird like abstract proxy. It's like you can actually pick up on these subtle cues, these like nonverbal communication things that really make it so you can like live in these experiences and feel like you have that emotional connection and that emergence like in such a significant way, which just like elevates everything. And that's where we're gonna get, right?
There it
Like
is.
eventually.
The first iteration of Metaverse, 1992.
Yeah. Some of
Yeah.
the stuff this guy was talking about, this is like pre, like, if I remember correctly, like Archie was the first web search engine, and that was 1990. So this guy was talking about stuff before, like, even internet and like the
June
way we understand
1992.
it.
I
Yeah.
didn't have a computer until 2000.
Oh, yeah. Like, but it'll blow your mind though, and it's a great read. It's like it's a super engaging, fun read.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would love to.
but
I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna try my best to check. I don't read a bunch. I might end up listening to the audiobook, but that
sure, yeah,
definitely seems like
whatever works. But yeah, it's more again like that like that avatar, that realism, the ability to like make the emotional connection like at a digital level is like once we can realize that, it's going to change everything in such a significant way.
yeah.
It moves from like entertainment to like I don't know, it's hard to you know it's hard to
Well, I
like
mean, it's almost moves into like a whole like it's a society, you know.
yeah, I mean, I I completely foresee the future, and I've talked about this before, where people are going to wake up in the morning, be like, "All right, I'm going to work." They're going to like throw on the goggles or patch in the neural link or whatever it is, and their entire day is
Oh
going to be
man, the
spent in a
Neuralink.
digital world. Like they're not even going to need to leave their couch to make their living. Like
Did you
for better or
it's
worse.
I'm almost living that already. I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
literally I wake up and I'm not in Decentraland like constantly, but I am working on Decentraland constantly for sure at this point.
right.
So whether I'm doing more how do I explain this politics, you know, sometimes I'm doing more politics, sometimes I'm connecting the dots, sometimes I'm coming up on ideas, and then I'm setting up these interviews, and then
Well,
you know,
even from my perspective, right? Like I'm working on this project, and we want to like work with all the layers, all the different virtual worlds, all like the facets of like what's happening in this evolving metaverse conversation. But I can't like be everywhere like at once, and so like you are one of those people, and Maddie as well, like
mm-hmm.
that have kind of become my proxies to like DCL and like you guys are like helping fill me in and like
Exactly.
bring me up to speed on what's happening with the wearables side. And
Mm-hmm.
now that that's really kicking off and progressing, I'm going to be like way more immersed in here. But at the same
Exactly.
time, like looked like you're an ambassador, for lack of a better term.
I
Like
told somebody
you're
else. I think I told the kid Sugo this morning, the kid that I was onboarding. I was like, I kind of play the role of an ambassador these days, because it just is
yeah,
like, it's just as important for me to get people to get excited about it than it is for me to worry about what I'm gonna do for my own business. So like
yeah.
it
And I
is.
think like
Yeah.
being in the mix as like an ambassador in all the facets, again, whether that be politics or dot connecting or whatever, like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
like
That's right.
the opportunity at an economic level is just going to be exposed to you. You're just going to
Absolutely.
like there's going to
Yeah.
be have so many different ways that you can like get involved and like explore opportunity, and you're going to be able to create new economies in and of yourself, like just because of what you're doing. So
It's crazy. I'm gonna stop this because I can't continue.
No, it's awesome. I'm loving
No,
this
I'm gonna
again.
keep walking around. I'm just saying I'm gonna stop trying to write things all the time. It's
Oh.
like annoying.
You're just tagging everything.
Oh, I'm
Just
trying to let people know that we're doing the interview. It's a funny
oh yeah.
situation, which I mean, it all works out because this will be a YouTube video. So I've linked with H Provacos, and he was like able to put me onto some higher technology now. So basically, every time I do one of these streams, it gets recorded, and then I'll be able to the video recording is available to me. So then I'm able to put that on YouTube myself. So
Right.
like this video is completely like gonna be, it'll go up to the YouTube channel. And so like whatever I'm doing here, even if like no one is in my parcel watching it, or honestly I don't even know. I did an interview something yesterday in the Crypto Valley. It could be on the Crypto Valley screen for all I know. Like it's just so crazy. I just like I can't even say enough about the people in this community because they've been able to like, you know, really get behind what I'm doing, And a couple weeks ago, you would have thought it was just me trying to make some interviews with people, like anybody, And then now it's like after the business conferences and everything, and then
Right.
the more like I don't know, we're like on round table 10 or something like that. All these round tables, like we're really, people got behind what I'm doing, and so now, like I said, I linked with H Pavaco, so he's been like helping me so I can get all the tools that I need in order to basically to bring this to the public. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I have this will be a is that red nitrous for real?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying this statue. This statue might as well
Oh.
be red nitrous right here. Like,
Oh, I thought I saw the name though behind him.
but yeah, no, red nitrous is here. Yeah, but so red nitrous is a good kid. He's a 18-year-old kid that didn't spend $1 on DCL and made a good living in here. Like obviously not a good living, but you know what I'm saying. Like he's done
Yeah,
really
yeah.
well. He has land and stuff like that. So, kid, I talked to him the other day. We have a group of us called the OPEC Baby Whales, which is hilarious. So it's a group that we all just kind of talk shit in
Right.
general. We kind of all linked between like being some wearable traders essentially, and then we all became pretty good friends, and I started having them on. Like we're like, all right, we're gonna have our own like separate round table that's more of a hangout, and so we did it the other night, and I will probably continue to do that. So Red's with us, and so he comes to a lot of my stuff, and buy DCL
Awesome.
memes. That's right, yeah. So he made this kid is the man. He made all these DCL memes, and then I was like, yo, you gotta tokenize them things. And he tokenized the memes, and then sold a gang of them. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So we all it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like I don't know, pushing each other to make the next move.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah,
I really.
Neuromancer is a good.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I've seen somebody kept commenting. Yeah, Neuromancer is a great book too. But I believe actually the phrase metaverse was actually first coined by Neil in Snow Crash, if I remember correctly.
I
But yeah,
mean,
that Neuromancer is a great book.
92. I mean, um,
Um, yeah, it's I have a couple. There's a couple groups that I'm in, like Discord servers and stuff.
mhm,
It's like a bunch of just like art collectors, general like crypto art collectors that have like
nice.
gotten to know each other just because of like bidding wars and like various other things. So
Mhm.
like yeah, that's been a fun. Like it's fun to see like all these like offshoot communities kind of start to pop up, and like those are actually what build these things, because again it's all about the community and like the social layers of like this stuff.
Yeah,
Without that, all this kind of becomes like it's for moot.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it really is because like again, you said the same thing. I'm living is that I'm in several different Discord groups and Discord chats at this point. Because I got my especially like now I have the Axie team, and so I'm like I've got Chief basically coaching my Axie team, which is I mean it doesn't get better than that if you know about Axie. So that's pretty
Yeah,
amazing. So I've got like a bunch of stuff going on in there, and I'm super active, and it is the community that builds this, and it's so impressive to stand here right now because it's like the community that built this. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yep.
Like this is like I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, we have our team, and the team, they get busy. I came in here the earlier today, and Nico, I'm standing. I see Nico, so I'm like, hey, this is my friend Sugo. I'm introducing him to the game, And he's like, cool. I'm just like, working on some. He was working on some. The hell. Look up. What's up there? How long ago was that? He was like, he's working on some bugs. He's like, if you catch any bugs, just let me know. And so, it's the team's working on stuff, but this specifically Genesis Plaza has so much integrated in it that we asked for as a community. And to me, that's just like the most incredible part of everything, where it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's that. It's like
it's what it should be.
Right? What's that?
Yeah, it's how it should be.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's funny though, because we have so many arguments in the Discord as well, what people think we should have and shouldn't have. And it's like the team, they've got to work, and that, like getting to know them a little bit more now, you start to understand like they need a little time to work though. Like when you give them the input, if you want them in the Discord chatting with you the whole time, you're not going to get the thing done.
Right.
So it's like at some point they're like, okay, cool with all the input, appreciate the input. But if I don't get to work right now, none of this input is going to get implemented,
Right.
So, that's basically.
And it's also like they have considerations that they're like in their mind that the audience or like community probably isn't even aware of, whether that be technical or political or economic.
All.
So everybody, it makes sense. Like everyone's like, yeah, the input is coming from a subjective place, but like they're trying to consider like the greater picture of like what's necessary, what the requirements are.
Yeah, and I guess that would bring us right into the wearables talk. Let me actually pull that up. I forget where that even is. Is that in Decentraland.org? Maybe we'll start there. Right?
This one.
The wearables, the thing we were going to talk about. Let's get started.
Oh, that blog post, or
the blog post exactly. Yeah, is it blog? Oh, no, back up.
I can listen to the link.
Is it blog? I think it might be blog.decentraland, right?
I was sharing it actually in the Metafactory Discord the other day.
There it is. Hey, I know stuff. So okay, this here is especially what I wanted to talk to you about is because this here is essentially a trial run of what they want to do, but will not be the be all end all situation. So basically here they're trying to offer some of the people who have been involved with the project for a while the opportunity to essentially beta test this system that will not probably be the whole, just like I said, not the be all end all. Just like what we need to do something, and then they want to do it before we do the DAO, and to just kind of like give it a run before we start doing the DAO. Like we got to figure out for instance, we got to make sure that people are able to use that code that makes the wearables move. That gives it the little bits of this stuff under the sleeve and
physics.
Exactly. All the animations. Now we have a whole bunch of emotes. I don't know if you've seen the emotes. The emotes are amazing. Check this out. This is the only one I touch all day. Right here. Hey, do it. There it is. Yup.
Make it rain.
That's it, man. This is just like hours of this. I can do that forever. But yeah, in order to kind of like to stress test this, let's say, about like you want to give the power to the content creators or whatever, but then you don't want it so they can't even do it, So we want to kind of like trial run it. So I guess that's what it is. But at the same time, we should probably get people like yourself involved and like Dennis from Dapcraft, who's been, first of all, Dennis from Dapcraft has been doing this stuff since day one. As far as the wearables, he's been interested in having a wearables, company since step one. So I think that we should see him get a shot. You guys now, again, I want to kind of get back to the reason why I was so like drawn to your company was because, and I'm going to bring your stuff up now. There we go. So I, a long time ago, kind of came with this thing where I was like, yo guys, like I saw a video of a guy, I forget who the hell it was at this point, talking about taking NFTs and then having like collector's items in life that were like essentially assigned to the NFT, you know. And it made me think about VeChain. Do you know about VeChain?
Yep.
Yep. So it made me think about VeChain and what they're doing with the wine in China, right?
Yep. Supply chain stuff. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Supply chain. And then, you know, I was like, wow, if we could have a very similar model for actual NFTs and then have representation of the in-game NFT, to me, that's the move, because to me, it's much bigger than in-game wearable at that point. I'm from hip hop, man. I've been doing hip hop things for years, right? One thing the hip hop people are a lot generally sneaker people too, right?
Yep.
So I've seen the ins and outs of that whole sneaker game through friends of mine who had companies or whatever the hell, you know.
I've done it. Yeah, I flipped sneakers for a while. Yeah.
I left that game alone. I never touched sneakers like that. Like, I mean, yeah, I have sneakers that I wear, but you know, man, I ain't had no wall full of sneakers. I remember my roommate that lived here with me actually for a while. That kid that moved me out to Boston. You know, so our roommate at the time when I first moved out here, he worked for a company that used to get the SBs, like the crazy SBs the day they launched, and they had the lines outside the joint. So he throw them out the back door to, you know, every one that came out. My man got one out the back door. So at some point, he's got a fucking wall full of shoes. Yeah. Never worn them. And like, it's not like they're just liquid, like they just sell, you know? So it's like, yeah, it was one of those things. And he's like, man, those are probably the worst investment I ever made. You know what I mean? They're just a fucking wall full of shoes. You know what I mean?
As a technologist, we were doing the bot game. So like when drops would go online, we just run bots. And basically, we were the ones that everyone hated us.
No, but you know why? This is the greatest example. Like, okay, so this is the reason why. Okay, you're leading me right into the subject. So what I thought, I was like, you know, if we let's say my radio building was the place, or let's say one of my parcels was the place, right? And let's say Metafactory is the company. Let's just put that into the mix, right? So now Metafactory is coming out with a very rare sneaker that's in combination with Nike, right? Nike SB, let's say, right? So now you got a Metafactory Nike SB shoe. There's 1,000 of them for the world, right? For the world. Instead of putting it in 5 different shops that are in major cities that only some people can get to, you know,
right?
You put it in a place in Decentraland. So the idea for me would be the person walks up as an avatar, has to physically as the avatar touch the thing that gives them the space in line, let's say, right? So now you're the 5th person that touched that thing, you know, and so on or whatever, right? So now you can't be a bot because you had to have, let's say, okay, you give them a token after they touch that button, the token hits their wallet. Now the token says that you're this number in line. That transaction didn't take, you know, you couldn't just spam that transaction, right? So now you're the number. Yeah, look, he's getting mad because he's a bot.
I was like, I'm Navy.
He's like, wait a minute, I can't bot this, so this is stupid, Frank.
No, I mean, there's definitely, you can bot various aspects of this, but yeah, you're right. Like, there are walls and social factors that you can like force that will limit the ability or make it really, really challenging or painful for it to be like
let's say that button was on top of a building. So now you have to get your avatar onto the elevator and go up there. It'd be harder to bot that.
Yep.
Right? You wouldn't just be walking up to the thing and just like giving them a control to go right and left. Now you got to go up a building. Maybe you have to do like a small obstacle. That way we know, we have a feeling that you're not a bot, because it's harder to make a bot do that. You know?
Even you've just created a new economy too, because now there's like an economy around the place in line, let alone the product you're going to get. You know what I mean?
Because you could sell your place in line now.
Sure, why not? You know?
Exactly. Like, and you know sneakerheads are going to pay it, you know?
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I'm always rooting for the underdog. So people in Uganda never had a chance to get into the sneaker game, get into the collectible sneaker game or the collectible game, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Because it's never in Uganda. They never do that store in Uganda. I mean, so
plus like the idea of $1,000 kicks is probably somewhat ludicrous, but
yeah, sure. But for it to be dropped in Uganda, but what if that person could take that $1,000 that they saved up and then literally change their own lives with it because now they're involved. And now they were able to sell that shit for $3,000.
Or better yet, like in terms of like Metafactory's model, they're not just buying a sneaker, they're buying membership into a brand, which is basically now they are part and player and participant of like driving this thing forward. And as it accrues value, so does their membership, their essentially their investment into like this thing.
Yep.
And they're actually equally responsible along with all the other members in driving towards that success as well.
Exactly.
They're not
So
just
let's get into the model itself, because I know I've heard you pitch it before, but I just want to like have everybody just have it like wide out and open, like kind of the elevator pitch of everything the Metafactory is
sure. So the heart and soul of Metafactory is this concept we call brand factories. Brand factories are essentially our word or name for our lexicon for DAO. And what they are community owned and operated brands. So Metafactory in that sense is a DAO factory through the lens of apparel brands, contemporary fashion and streetwear. And what we do is we run these auctions. The first one, which is like the birth of a new brand, would be the Genesis auction. We'll include a Genesis product. In the case of the Metafactory signature brand, that was the bomber that you were just displaying. And then we have this whole digi-physical angle, which we're really excited about, where all the physical goods we're producing, we create digital complements, wearables, matching wearables. And we're talking about not just Decentraland, crypto voxels, but VR chat, virtual market, all this, like, because this whole virtual world extends way beyond just like this. Virtual world within the blockchain context is actually a super niche thing too. Most of like the virtual world experience is happening like way bigger and outside of this. And it's mainly relegated to like Eastern culture, Japan, China, South Korea. They're the ones that are really like leading that. The West is like from a demographic standpoint, way less involved. So yeah, but we have these ideas and like these technologies around, again, smart contracts, NFTs, around ownership, proof of ownership of digital goods. So we actually can help. And I think a lot of people in the virtual world don't even realize or haven't even been exposed to these possibilities. So like there's a convergence in the virtual space that's going to happen and is starting to like overlap in really exciting ways in and of themselves.
Yeah.
And, there's multiple reasons for all this. Like first and foremost, saw the explosion of the crypto art scene and the artists themselves and what they're doing and this awesome stuff that's coming out, like just incredible talent. And we were like, hey, like, why don't we use this and provide these artists with a new canvas in apparel to take out all the heavy lifting, all the headache around physical goods production, which there's a lot. And we're not talking about like on-demand printing of shirts or hats. We're talking about custom made, limited run, cut and sew garments designed from the ground up specific to like these builds, these designs. So we, as Metafactory, we act as the production partner, fulfillment partner. We take all that off the hands of the artists. They just need to create designs and whatnot. And we basically produce these things. These auctions allow community members to themselves essentially get involved at either the ground level through a Genesis auction or some subsequent membership auction, because these will be kind of revolving for every brand. And now they're actually able to participate in product creation, suggestion of new products, merchandising options. What's cool is each brand comes with a style guide. So you can actually, as constrained or like guided by the artist's assets directly, you can suggest a backpack or a mug or a bomber or some joggers, whatever, that based on these assets and these style guides that have the rest of the members vote on them, put it up for sale. And we can use bonding curve mechanisms. We can use auction mechanisms. We can use direct to sale. How that's sold is, again, also up to the members to decide. And again, with each of those, we're looking to do a physical piece and a digital piece. And the exciting thing for me also about the digital piece, beyond just giving a new canvas to artists, is there's a whole world of people who have no idea what we're doing in blockchain, let alone in Decentraland or virtual worlds. And you see somebody wearing a dope jacket or an awesome shirt or hoodie, and you're like, that's rad, where'd you get that? And now there's this kind of like, it acts as a gateway into this greater conversation. You're like, cool, yeah, check out this site, Metafactory. You can buy these jackets directly without even like the membership brand piece. You can just you own this thing now. Like after you've purchased, you've received in your account this digital wearable. Well, what's a digital wearable? Oh, it's an item you own that you can wear in these virtual worlds. Well, what are virtual worlds? It's like, so now you're basically just like thrown into this space, and because you own this thing in real life, you love it. You're like, of course, like I have this digital wearable. Why would I not go into this place? Why would I not throw it on and walk around? So there's an emotional resonance with like physical items, whether it be apparel, figurines, or whatever they may be, that I think like financial tools or fintech or DeFi, they don't have that excitement for most people, whereas like something like this can really help to provoke the imagination and the excitement around like get involved, explore these things, and like bring them into the Web3 world. So hopefully capture new audiences, right? So this is kind of the greater vision of like where we've come from, why, and what we think is possible. So community and creators collaborating together to create like brands that are resonant and align with the values of that greater community. And then individuals being able to, just as a passive consumer, pick up an awesome jacket or hoodie or whatever in Meet Space, get this virtual thing, whichever one you think is more valuable, you can flip it, you can wear it, you can have your avatar look like you do in real life. Like it's a way to actualize too, in a digital sense, who you are, right? As like in the real world, using air quotes. So yeah, and then beyond that, we're working on some really cool stuff around physical goods token standards. We're embedding silicon chips directly in the physical products, and we're using that to track ownership history. We're using it to track pedigree, and eventually, hopefully we can do a process where along the supply chain, whoever's touching it at whatever point, they can scan that thing or send a transaction or sign a transaction that's documents where it's at what time, whose hands it's touched, and we can kind of address some of that supply chain stuff. We're starting simple, but there's a lot of possibility with like even just that layer. In fact, those little chips can act as crude cold wallets. So you could essentially have a mini like cold hardware wallet in your jacket. Like these are all things like possible now.
It's almost scary to me, to think about that. Like losing. I was onboarding a friend of mine today, and I'm like, you have to put that seed phrase away. And he's like, yeah, I just have it written down in some stupid. No. You go pick that up. You put that in the most important place in your house. And I was explaining to him. I was like, you could mess around and lose that, and then one day things could go well, and then next thing you know, you have $7 million wallet that you have no access to, and it's happened. We've seen it happen with BTC.
Yeah, this has happened before.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there might be like a use case for a wallet like that where you have like a physical token and like
it's not solving. Yeah, you're not going to.
It's not solving a problem.
Well, you're not solving like permanent wallet storage. You're not going to want to have a ton of money sitting on some sort of like, because again, this is like a silicon chip that could get smacked by something, break. You throw it in water too long. Like we've considered all that, but we don't know how durable it is over 1,000 wash and dries. You know what I mean? It's like hard to guess where the faults may lie, but it does and can serve some really cool purposes in terms of, especially from a collector standpoint, verifying that This is the first jacket produced. I've been the only owner. It's like your Carfax, yeah, for your jacket.
Yeah, for your jacket.
It's your jacket
And a
facts.
very supply chainy, um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, which is awesome,
And yeah, and this can go beyond apparel too, right?
Mhm.
So we're like talking with the Crypto Kaiju team about how this same standard can benefit their figurine stuff.
Oh yeah, and even
Collaborating
Maddie,
with.
like Maddie was saying, he's got some sort of company in what's up, Norman? So Maddie said he's got some sort of toy box company somewhere in America, and that would be something that he might be able to benefit from, like just these links. So like like I was saying about the links earlier, if you can do that, then why wouldn't you be able to take a look at some furniture and then and then click on that and that sends you to So if you could even supply chain that situation, and kind of track
Yeah,
the whole. I don't know what it is. If it's a custom, if it's a if, I don't know what his whole model is, but I'm saying like if some sort of that way you could make a way to verify everything that's happening there, that could be great. Um, so
yeah.
that's
If nothing else, you can look at how many times it's been sold.
yep.
What number it was, cost. You can
Mm-hmm.
actually infuse value directly into the physical or the digital pieces too, like
Right.
which is really cool. There's like with charged particles and some of the new stuff that's happening with that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like, I'm not, you know, uh, claiming to know the future of where all this stuff is going,
Yeah.
but I know that there's a tremendous amount of possibility, and we're like pushing hard and really excited about progressing this idea first and foremost of community owned and operated brands
Mm-hmm.
and this concept of digi-physical apparel brands that can again meet space and virtual, and those two pieces alone we think have just so much potential, and we're really excited to explore that with whoever is open to it and as many platforms as we can. So
Yeah. So let me tell you what's going on in the background here, because this is funny. So Normano, who's in my place right now, so he was saying, he hits me in the Discord and he says, "Hey Frankie, I've got like this crazy echo going on. I'm trying to watch the video in your radio station." And so I needed like a hot second to think, and I was so happy you had something to say, because I was like, yo, I really don't know what I did. What happened was I had installed that other screen, and I had actually had the same stream running on both of them. So the audio was playing on both of them. So that's what was going on, Normano. And I see opening the season there. Um, and this is the early days, and I set up another screen earlier, and I had copy and pasted it, and then changed my just like the names on all the things that I needed to change the names on, but I did not take away the stream, and because the stream was up on both TVs, we were getting double audio. And this is luckily enough, they've taught me enough in the coding world, so I can do that. So that was pretty good.
like know
But
enough to be dangerous.
yeah, just enough to do what I can do. Um,
Yeah.
but that's again, we're in the early days of this stuff, so it's super fun to be just like doing it. Just being like here, having these mistakes, having these problems, because we're gonna look back at these times. It's gonna be hilarious. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah. For us, it's cool too. Like getting back to some of like this like the wearable conversation specific to
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
DCL, because I know
Yep.
you guys have like there's been a lot of chat and concern around like the economics of it all, right? And
Yeah.
controlling the market and
Yeah.
supply and scarcity, which
Exactly.
totally valid, makes
Yeah.
sense.
And
I,
also
I
on that side of things, some of the bit has been cleared up, because one of the big things was whether items were going to be minted. That, like, for instance, there's a few items that like they were supposed to be one of 100. Only 5 or 6 of them were minted, 30, whatever, because they were from a beta test, like contest. So during the beta test, or during the beta, we had multiple meetups that would get you a prize of an NFT, right?
right.
So what ended up happening was people took those prizes, but the rest of them that weren't picked up as prizes, they never reminted them.
Right.
So as we've gone along, they had, for the Halloween stuff, they had opened up a shop, and I can kind of show you what I'm talking about there, because like I said, like when it comes to the wearables, I kind of, I know my way around. So, and I know my history really too, So if you go to the OpenSea wearables here, there we go. So you go down the side here, they've got all the different categories, right? And I guess I can run through them real quick. The Halloween store is the only store we had, and those were the unminted items from the Halloween contest that we had for the beta test.
Got it.
Those are still not sold out. If you go in there, there's still a couple of them that are available. I think OpenNFT has done videos on this. But those are like in what I consider the base prices. Now, don't tell not saying that every single not saying that every single let's say legendary starts at 500. Some legendaries are just not that cool. Some they're not gonna go for 500. But for the most part, this would be like the base prices in my brain. This is what I go with. Like I'm like, all right, cool, 500 for a legendary. That's pretty much a good price. Above that is about its rarity and popularity within the community. And if you're in the Discord, you'll get to know that. You would get to know what items are more popular amongst all of us and what people think is going to work out. And so there's a level of speculation going on as well.
Yeah. And there should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting. I'm glad you guys are going through this experiment. Because look, you can model this stuff all day long. You can talk about it. You can theorize, blah, blah, blah. But until you put it into action, you actually see how the market responds and what the community does. That's going to inform. Data tells everything. So what we were just looking at, the new exploration wearable kind of license idea, at least as a prototype exploration, I think it's awesome. I think it's a great starting place.
Yeah.
And for us, with how we're doing it, everything we're producing is super limited. Scarcity is key because we're talking about actually creating physical goods. We can't just make 1,000 of these jackets because they're supposed to be paired to a digital. Will they be sold separately? Possibly in the future, but there will still only exist one of each in the pair.
Exactly.
So we're naturally, by the nature of our business economics, limited to that scarcity play. And there will be merchandised things, but we don't have to necessarily introduce those to every platform or make digital complements for every piece we produce. We may make digital pieces that aren't physical, but for the most part, we are limited in that sense by the production cost, capability, process that is involved in the physical creation of goods, which a lot of wearable creators probably don't have to keep in mind. So.
Oh geez, I kind of lost the train of thought on my question. I apologize.
Oh no, yeah.
But some of these, like I said, we figured out that some of these were not going to be minted. So what ended up happening, if you will take a look at the activity, actually, you started to see people kind of go grab at, now people were willing to take the risk to grab up some of the super rare stuff that they know are no longer going to be minted. We ended up having one of our biggest sales in history recently. Toonpunk got rid of this cyber jacket for 29,800 mana. And these glasses, both of these things were super rare. This contest, the Christmas contest, if you were a part of the beta, was almost impossible to work. It just was crashing for me constantly. And back then, I was still not in the I'm gonna be investing in wearables and I think this is a great opportunity. So I was just kind of in the I was I did every beta test, and when I went to the Christmas one, it sucked, and I was I'm not doing this. I did the same thing with the with the treasure hunt, but the treasure hunt was much different, where I had made some big sales, and I was I don't even care about the treasure hunt. I was I'll wait till these guys sell all these things off, and I'll just buy them up, which is what I did. So I ended up
Right.
like not doing the treasure hunt, and I ended up
Playing a
buying a gang of
secondary market.
wearables right after everybody was trying to sell
Yeah.
off because they didn't. Another one, Sugar sold this thing for 20,000. So people are starting to understand that when you have that kind of scarcity, now these become collector's items. These are a piece of history, really.
Well, and also like enough time has gone by, I assume, from when those were first released,
Mm-hmm.
that the market knows and the community knows that like there's a demand against them too, right? I'm assuming like maybe at the time there was no way to know what like that, not just like the scarcity might have been known, but the demand may not have been known, or like the excitement around a piece, like
Well,
gotta have
it
that.
was like we had a bunch of us, like myself, who I had a really good feeling about how Wearable was going to do because I come from video games and I was like, I know how
Right.
video game people are about their skins. And if
Yeah.
you let a video game person know that his skin is his and he owns it now,
Right.
that video game person is going to look at that in a certain way. For instance, I onboarded my friend today. Tonight, he wants me to walk him through what wearables to buy. It's the first thing he came to me with. He's
That's
like, okay,
awesome.
I didn't tell him like oh like all this. Like I didn't really like break him down the wearables market. It's just he was like, yeah. So tonight you want to walk me through wearables? And I was like, because
He's
he,
like,
he put his guy together. And he's like, yeah, I'm not walking around. Like he's like, I think this is
yeah,
all
he's like, I
right.
gotta look fly.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
this is all right, but he wants something else and he wants some other shit. So and it's just like a given to me in my way. I play 2K. I play a lot of 2K, and every year I put up a good amount of money in 2K. Usually in the beginning of the season, but it's like usually I'll grab I'll buy in the beginning. Let's say instead if the game costs 70, I'm spending 150 in the beginning, and then throughout the season I'll probably do 20 and $40 here and there when I start a new character, right?
Right.
And like that shit adds up because you never owned it. And not only don't you own it, the game's coming out in 11 months. Like right after you spent the money, it's coming out again. So like it's not even like Fallout. Like if you ever played Fallout,
Yeah.
that has a pretty good in-game economy. People sell things online, off the game. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how it works.
Yeah, but like even then, like there's no guarantee
There's
that
no
the
guarantee.
publisher is just gonna like mint 1,000 more of the thing, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, they do. They're pretty active. Bethesda's actually pretty active when they talk about what they're gonna do. But
but still, like
again,
it's not like, built into the nature of
totally to their prerogative, however they feel, and also like
changed our mind.
the game lasts a little longer than 2K. For
Yeah.
say 5 years, but they're gonna put another game out, and there's gonna be a
Right.
whole nother round of things, and those things become obsolete. My point about that is they become obsolete, so then the money gets spent again. And I think as gamers, especially as we get older, again, I have this group of guys that we're like, we're gamers, so we've gotten to the point of frustration with the regular video game world anyway, behind their manipulation of children's money. See, manipulate my money. You've got kids chasing loot boxes, teaching them to be gamblers. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, you know what I mean? If you really think about it, they're trying to teach children to become gamblers or gamble their money in hopes for some sort of thing,
Yeah, Pokemon is basically a stock trading like tutorial. That's like it's basically like that's shit. Go back further. Pog. Remember Pog?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I remember Pog, man. I didn't
yeah,
play those,
like
but those got crazy. And that's okay. That was when I was a kid. So like, I'm in school and these kids are trading Pogs $20, $40, $100. I'm like, we're in 7th grade. Kids make $100 transaction. I'm like, what? This is craziness. Like it was beyond me. I was into comic books. I liked comic books as far as rare things. You know what I just found was they had so Topps came out with Garbage Pail Kid cards.
Yeah. I've been
Oh
following
man,
that.
I got like 9 packs, man. I love that shit. That was my shit. And so Open NFT came out with a video about it, and I like wake up at like 5 a.m. to this notification because I have his videos on my notifications, right? So I'm like 5 a.m. notification comes, and fucking I'm like, Garbage Pail Kids? And I get right on my computer, like immediately. So it's funny as hell though, right? And we super speculation. I'm not saying I know, you know what I mean? But later on that night was when we had the OPEC baby whale talk, right? and I'm telling those guys, hey, check out this shit. You know, they made these Garbage Pail Kids. And so we go check out the Garbage Pail Kids page, sold out.
Yeah.
So earlier that morning, there's like 5,000 of them. When I later on that night at like 11 at night, sold out.
It's funny too because even I wasn't digging in too much, but I was talking to some people who did the same thing, like bought a bunch early, and they're saying it's not well suited for like flipping or for secondary market sales at this point. Maybe that I don't know.
Right now, yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that even like the mechanics aren't even there yet. Like if you watch the video, that they put up as far as like what it's supposed to be, those mechanics are not yet built into that. The thing, I don't even know if they expected it to go that crazy. Honestly,
probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think people realize the benefit of like true digital ownership. I think people are still discovering this like on like a major way. Like likely though, a lot of that was just bought up by people like yourself who just love the Garbage Pail Kids. You know what I mean? It's like, and you might be able to like put it together that, you know, if this could definitely be worth something too because of the scarcity.
Absolutely. I mean, it could be see, the thing about the Garbage Pail Kids thing, and the reason why I honestly just mad I didn't buy more. The reason being is that this could be one of the first mainstream blockchain collectible, and the implications of that is much heavier. You know, so then here's what I wouldn't be surprised about: that very soon you start to see Topps get into Pokemon cards, Topps get into every kind of old collectible, and then now making it a blockchain collectible. And if that happens, these Garbage Pail Kid things will be dumb prices.
I have like through past relationships and some people I know, I know a bunch of people at Mattel, and like Mattel, the IP they own, He-Man universe, all the like all like, and you know, Barbie, all like. There's so like you could do Barbie skins, you could do He-Man skins, Avatar, like the you know, like all like just it goes on, and I've been like explaining. I've been on calls. I went in there once. I was just like, okay, guys, this is blockchain. This is NFT. This is what this can mean, and like it's like glaze over. Just don't understand. And then one day, like you get like that phone call back, be like, hey, so we like. It finally clicked, you know, like,
absolutely.
So I guarantee you there's, Topps has definitely like started that trend, but there's going to be many other brands that are going to start piling in.
Like I get the feeling that the representative from Topps was like, all right, man, we'll try this thing out, buddy. Okay. But I really don't know if it doesn't work out. It's a trial run, you know, and then the thing just sold in 5 minutes. He was like, okay, we got to have a new conversation in the office tomorrow, you know?
We'll give you our worst like property. We'll give you Garbage Pail Kids. Like if you can do something with Garbage Pail Kids, and why you know what I mean? Like,
then we'll deal with the MLB and you know and all that.
Exactly.
And you know that's really, I mean, Major League Baseball. Let's get into Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball hadn't had a tool to push their product for a few years now. Coming from the gamer standpoint, right? Their only real game is on PlayStation. And you would think that that's a huge market, but in the gamer world, the competitiveness is on Xbox. And everybody would tell me, you know, you can argue whatever you want to argue, but we play both, you know, and we don't feel as competitive when I'm playing PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? And like when you don't have a video game and you don't have a way for, like in the past, you know, we had collector's cards and people to know every stat from every player, then you have no reason to watch the game. And now you see basketball and football going crazy, and it was because everybody knows every single player. They know every stat. They know the style.
Fantasy league, right?
But fantasy baseball is a cluster. You know what I mean? Like you can't do fantasy baseball unless you really don't like doing anything else. You know what I'm saying? For real. So, you know, it's like, you know, now maybe Topps has the opportunity to say, hey, now we can bring baseball cards back in some sort of meaningful way. Like some of those Garbage Pail Kids cards are gifts. They're the drawing one. I don't know if you've seen these things at all.
Yeah.
So the ones that are drawings they're gifts. And so now you could have a baseball card that would be a gift and it has an action. You know, it could even go deeper.
I was just gonna say, remember like the
holograms?
4 or 5, and like as you move the card, it's like the guy.
Oh yeah, huge back in the day. Yeah. And these things can be gifts. These things can be short. I mean, only to the point of like a short movie in there going on in there. I mean, it could get pretty deep. Like as far as what's going on inside the card.
Have you seen Wata Fan?
Nope. Let's find some new stuff.
WATAFan.com, I think is what it is.
Let's find some new stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
ooh, I like this.
I think it's a mainly like a Spanish or Latin American thing, but they do the same thing where they do these like digital cards. I don't think any of this is blockchain based, but like you can actually like reach out to the player, for instance, and say, like ask for their digital signature, and like there's like this this social layer between you and like the player themselves. And like I saw this the other day, and I was like, oh wow, like that's a really cool like concept or idea. And so this is something like I've been like put my eyes on. This team Flock, one in the middle. Down there, they're like one of the creators behind this, and we're actually been working with them, Metafactory, at a brand strategist and like asset creation layer.
Yep.
And they were showing us this project. It's like pretty exciting.
This is crazy,
stuff.
yeah. I mean, one of the first things I thought about when I first, because you had the My Crypto, MLB Crypto Heroes. I'm saying that wrong. I don't remember the name. Crypto Champions.
Yeah, the Lucid Site project.
And that was really inspiring. I don't think that it was the best situation but you had to do something. I always tell people you got to be ready to risk it. So you got to be like the one to say, I'm going to try this out. You got new technology, I'll put it on that. And they did pretty well. I think they did pretty well with that project. But I would like to see that maybe on a larger scale. As far as like using.
They did it at a Dodgers game too, where. Everybody who showed up at the Dodgers game got this like card that if you scan, you got the bobblehead of like one of the players on the team. And like, those things are like crazy rare now too. And like, nice. It was interesting though, because it was like a separate or like adjacent project to like the greater MLB like head thing. And so it was like kind of weird, but like, they literally, the team like got behind it and like, or the organization, and they like passed these things out to just like randoms, like a bunch of people who had like never been exposed to this space. That was like their first on ramp to like Web3 crypto NFT, like the whole experiences. And like if you love the Dodgers, or if you love whatever player that you got, and you have this like, it's worth, like, and now you're like, I have a place to store it. I have a place to show it in my house in Decentraland, in my house in crypto, whatever it may be, right? So that's why I think like these like digital collectibles, like now that we have these virtual worlds and spaces through which to experience and showcase and demonstrate these things, it's like it's starting to all.
Have you seen the NBA Top Shot project?
Is that through the Dapper team? Is that like one of the things?
I can't remember who's behind it. I know it was I believe it was a Ethereum based project, I believe.
Dapper Labs is the team who did Crypto Kitties. I'm not sure if it's like, I know they were working on.
Yes, I believe that's the same people. Yes.
Yeah, and, I'm not too familiar with it, but I know they've been working really closely on.
So I saw. I was like, I loved the idea, right? They caught the worst luck because of COVID, because they're supposed to be out right now, but that didn't really work out, because how are you going to capture a moment with no moments, But the idea is that you capture a moment, and you would be able to like buy the play essentially. It'd be like if you bought a play from the top 10, on ESPN. And then now you just have the NFT version of that play, and it's kind of like a card.
Imagine that as a sports fan. You got some moment, whether you bought it or you like randomly lottery drawing, whatever, and then you're watching Sports Center later that night, and it's like top 3 play of the day. It's like the moment you own. You're like, yes, I hit it. The price of that thing just
just jumps up. And the thing about it is, like for the early people in that project, that's why I was really interested. I really was like, I'm going to get a couple, whatever. I didn't know, I still don't know enough about the project. I saw them, they put a tweet up the other day, like same kind of idea. What kind of moment you think would be better? They kind of put these tweets up. And I'd love for them to release it, but obviously they could not do it. They just couldn't do it. With the
Yeah,
basketball just wasn't being played. I mean, because you can't come up with last year's moments. Yeah, that would be so that's like cheating, isn't it?
yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put out last year's moments. Like, well, I know which ones I want. The ones that mattered already. It's like it's like getting the almanac already. So
yeah, historical moments, maybe. Maybe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But how could you do that? Because then everybody knows which ones were important.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? It's more like if you're gonna do that correctly, it's got to be up to the time. So it's got to be like, the first, let's say week. Then there's a couple big moments that who knows, like in a week. See, the thing is, a lot with sports, even when the moment happens, unless it's the championship or something like that, you don't even know that it's the big, the big thing, or sometimes you do, like when somebody scored the 35,000th point or something like that. Like, all right, that was on TV. They talked about that, whatever. So like, but in order for you to really catch that lightning in a bottle, you're gonna really have to be the one that sees that moment, captures it, puts a bid on it and buys it, however that works, and then holds it until somebody else that really remembers that moment, wants to,
Yeah, you'd have to shift the whole model. I mean, you never know. Like, yeah, it's the one thing you don't know, I guess, is like how the market will respond or price something. You may know that it's a great moment, but comparative to all the other historical great moments, like you don't know if like those hockey fans from that particular team are so ravenous to have that thing that they're willing to, that the value of that seemingly less significant than like say like a World Series catch or something like that.
Yeah.
Price might just like so there is still some like opportunity, I could say, I'd say there, but like yeah, their plan and where they were going with it, it's not in line with that. It was more about the real time experience.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And I'd like them to. I don't know what their situation is financial. I mean, the crypto kitties coming. They should be fine. So
Yeah.
I think that they give it another shot next year. Just like start fresh.
They're working on Flow too, which is like a new blockchain.
Okay.
Specific to like these entertainment properties and experiences, as far as I understand, and like leveraging IP in like these ways. So that I know that like that's been like their core focus recently. One of my good friends worked over there, recently left. And yeah, but I think like that's also like a lot of people have been like, and to be like completely honest, like, man, CryptoKitties as like first on the scene for everything they could have done and all the directions they could have gone with that thing. Like, man, I just feel like there's so much opportunity left on the table just with that project alone. But yeah, I guess like, I mean, internet cats, man, you can't get better than that.
They did great, man. They killed it, man. Again, they were the ones that had the balls to do it, man. And that's why I say, like, like you have to be like put yourself out there a bit with this stuff. You gotta be a little bit like the one to say, you know what, hey, everything's not there right now, but we're still gonna go for it.
Yeah, we don't.
Like I said with Red Nitrous and the memes, the DCL memes. He just went for it. He's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna put them on the blockchain, and then people started buying them, and the kid sold more than I thought he would. I bought one. Shit, I was his number one supporter. I was like, I'm buying one of these shits. And I'm saying, I'm buying one of these motherfuckers. So I got I don't have like the first mint. I don't even know if you can find out. Like I couldn't figure out which ones were first through 10. He did 10 of each. So I got like one of the first ones, the one that like the group of us, and I wasn't involved with it at all. Like I was just the one that said, like, hey, you should throw it on the thing. But no, they had all basically came up with a bunch of ideas about what they wanted the meme to look like. So I just thought that one to me is actually a moment in time that if we look back to all of us,
you're like, I was there, yeah.
Well, it's not going to be just that. It's all of us, man. There's a group of us there that we all talk. We all, we're all in this. And, we're going to look back one day and be like, man, that's crazy, and I want that moment. So I found no problem spending some money on that, So.
Yeah, I mean, it's same with what we're trying to do with Metafactory. Like, we don't come from a fashion background. We're like, again, we're technologists. Like, right. We figured out how to like solve a piece of the puzzle on the production side. We figured out we could do this. We could build like offer custom, cut and sew goods and garments, partner with amazing artists that like can bring that talent in and just, all right, let's make physical goods. You know what? No, let's make digi-physical goods and let's
Now,
bring these
question.
in.
I found my question
It's
from
all an
last time. I'm so
experiment.
glad that we
It's all
kind
an
of had a
experiment.
long conversation in between. I found my question from last time because my thought process on that would be there would be some sort of tag that would link your physical to an NFT. Is that something that you're into?
It's they're linked
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of like they're tied together, but they're not. They don't have to move. They don't have to move together. It's impossible to really restrict. We could lock the actual NFT, say in the silicone chip of the physical good. We could do that.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of defeats the purpose of tokenizing and giving someone like a tokenized wearable. Like our opinion, we
Well, I
went
mean,
kind of
I
back and
think
forth.
that so my thought process on that concept would be you would have an NFT that represent the physical and an NFT that represented the the digital. So like
Yeah,
it'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
two NFTs, same mint number, let's call them, right? You get both of them. You get the digital NFT and the physical NFT. And then if you want to sell the digital NFT out, that's fine because that's in game. Somebody could wear that. Your physical NFT would just represent your physical item.
So we essentially have that.
Okay.
The physical NFT is essentially all the metadata that sits on the chip that
Mm-hmm.
reflects what's basically the number of the jacket, the price
Yep.
paid, ownership, transfer history, whatnot.
Exactly. So that's your cold
In
wallet you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
basically like it's a it's a data it, like it's a database. It's like
Yep.
it's basically capturing all the relevant information about this physical
Now, is
garment.
there a way to access that information? Like,
Yeah.
so you have the chip, and then how you tap a phone on it? Yeah.
Yep. And
All right.
NFC. Actually, I have one right here.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna blow your picture up because I want to take a look at this actually.
This is the actual physical chip, the silicon chip right there, and then this piece right there is the NFC
Yeah.
piece that connects to the silicon, which is like where all the actual data is stored. So this is how you access everything that sits on the silicon.
And you just basically tap your phone to that, and then you're gonna get all your information.
Yeah, and it'll be able to like pull everything down from here, and
Mm-hmm.
then what you'll do if you want to transfer to someone else or like sell it and like basically document that transfer, you unlock basically your claim on it, which sits on a wallet which lives outside of this chip, but it's like registered to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you transfer that. Someone they scan, they're claiming ownership, and now it's locked to them. Only
Mm.
they can unlock and transfer. So someone can't like walk up on a shelf or like in a party and like scan it and like assign themselves. It has to be like authorized by the current owner, essentially.
Nice, nice. That's
Yeah.
exactly the model that I was interested in when I first like had the thought, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are like doing exactly that. So I'd love to
Yeah.
see you guys get into the space here, you know, and I'm gonna push for that probably. So because again, I can't do everything, you know. So as I would love to be Metafactory, I cannot be Metafactory. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Not because you exist, because I don't have the time in my life to do this. You know?
and it's not like the exciting thing for us too is it's not like we are Metafactory. It's we're offering a platform for artists and community, including people like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to like collaborate and own. We are as the production partner, like creating the physical and the digital goods.
Mm-hmm.
We're part of these brands, but we're not like in control
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of like the rest of the community is also choosing where this things goes. They're operating it. So you as an individual could like you like one artist, say like you really like an artist, Josie, let's
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Her works fly, like
Mm-hmm.
she produces some awesome leather jacket
Mm-hmm.
or some like just dope shirt, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. And you can actually buy in as a member and participate with a bunch of other people. You're now part of like Josie's brand, and
Mm-hmm.
as things are happening, you got all your other world and everything else you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Votes are coming up. It's like, hey, we got this new idea for a hat or for some shoes. It's like,
Yeah.
cool. You can vote on that. You can be as involved or uninvolved as you want. the more you participate, you probably be like rewarded a little bit more as that brand grows. So you can kind of like, what's great is it's like this collective movement of like people working together towards like to push this thing. And in that sense, you don't have to necessarily like rely on Metafactory to be the driver of this thing. We're helping to lay the foundation, provide the tools to enable this experience, and we're going to continue to do that. But
yeah, that's amazing.
It's more like we want everybody to come in. We want everybody to be able to participate in this, like and jump in and leave brands as they become uninteresting. You know, like they're like, yeah, like I thought that was cool. It's like not so excited with where the designs are going or whatnot, but like there's this new artist and they're launching a brand. I'm gonna go over here, or maybe I just want to own some cool shirts and jackets from various brands and just buy them as a consumer and get the physical pieces. Like I don't have to participate in the governance or the brand direction piece of it all. But it, you know, again, that opportunity is there such that it really is like a community effort to do this stuff. So yeah, I think it meshes very well with this whole space. And, you know, we talk a lot, and I was touching on it again, like the DeFi piece of this whole space is exciting and it's important. The FinTech layer, it's the foundation, these payment rails that everything runs on. But there's also this like, the smart contract, the DAO conversation, trustlessness and transparency that blockchain provides also has incredible possibilities and impact on the community piece and what we can do in terms of like governance and collective ownership and operation of a variety of things. So that piece is so exciting, and I think it's like really untapped right now and blends so well with the emergence of these digital worlds, this wearable conversation, and everything else, the culture growth of all this that's coming. Absolutely. It's not just about moving ones and zeros and number go up. We're building the foundation of this digital world, this economic layer.
Yeah. And you're just like, you can see it like, to me, that's why everything worked. Because like everything clicked when I could understand, like I was understanding blockchain a bit beforehand. And then when I saw the digital kind of like, to me, and you know, being a gamer, I kind of just equated it to gaming. And I was like, you're telling me that I can own the things in the game. Okay, cool. I'm going to buy everything because I know the value of that, you know?
You got it from like the skin perspective, but I'd also argue that that's the culture piece, right? You got it from the culture side of it, not like, because like I can flip it. Yeah, maybe, but like, I don't know.
You understand. I just understood. It was not necessarily I can just flip it. I that was I don't know, given, you know? Because I just know video games. I just know how people are, you know? It's a psychology thing. It's not about what I've been able to do with flipping things or whatever. It's always about psychology. I'm like, oh, I know. We talked about it yesterday, right? And I guess I'll get into it real short. Like with the skeleton thing that I sold for a lot of money, right? Basically what happened was I bought it, then somebody bought all of it. Like I bought one, there's 1 of 10, right? And then somebody bought all of them. So now I'm like, well, somebody thinks they're the coolest shit going, right? I think it's the coolest shit going. So I'm putting it, I had it up, let's say I had it up for, I don't know, 7,500 mana or something like that, right? I was like, that's a pretty good take, but I think that somebody actually would pay 30,000 mana for this. Psychologically, I'm like, it's the only wearable. It was a skeleton chest. So it's like, it's see-through, you know what I'm saying? It's like the only thing that completely changes your torso. From a video game perspective, you want to be the only person doing something cool like that. So, you know, I'm like, well, I'm not married to this thing. You know what I'm saying? If somebody wants to take it off me for this much, I'll do it. And it ended up working out. It was a psychology thing. It wasn't about, I think this is going to moon. Like, that's a very simple way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was saying that somebody over there is looking at me thinking I have something that they want.
Even, like, the psychology of, like, look at streetwear, right? There's Supreme, Yeezys, all this stuff.
Yeah,
you know that they're scarce. You can flip them. There's a secondary market demand for these things. Like that's always in the back of your mind as a driver. If nothing else, you know, like you're not going to lose on it probably, unless you're like way overpaying. But I'd
way over wearing it, you know.
Oh yeah, sure.
Wearing the shit out of it. You know?
But I'd argue like more so than like the motivation for most people isn't like, I'm going to go flip this thing. It's like, it's the desire to be a part of something exclusive, something cool, something like bigger than myself. You know, it's that community piece too, that like culture piece that like I think a lot of people kind of like that is I think what you're starting to see in like the DCL and like the wearable side of things too. Like makes sense.
So one of the things they were talking about yesterday was that we're going to be able to go to the Genesis Plaza and basically trade for either very ridiculously low fees or no fees NFTs. And people have been kind of talking about that. And the joke was like, I'm going to be running around Genesis Plaza like, yo, I got these Bitcoin glasses. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to be like, yeah, like this guy right here. Hell yeah. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that. And we also talked to Sandeep from Matic, and he was talking about all kinds of solutions for making things faster. And, you know, now that I've got like my Axie team going, and they're like crypto noobs, so they're just like, bro, when are my Axies coming through? You know what I mean? I'm like, homie, I don't know, man. It's called Vitalik, man. I don't fucking know what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude, you know? So I keep telling them, well, like, you know, E2.0 is coming, you know, hopefully we can get Matic. I'm like, they don't give a fuck about that. They're just like, when's my Axie coming through? That's all they care about, you know? But I love seeing this space grow. It's sick, man. It's like, you know, it's like watching. I was telling somebody recently, I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm mining Bitcoin in 2009 right now. Literally. Like, I feel like I know about something. How do I know about something that crypto people don't even know about? You know, it's like, first of all, how did I land here? You know, the other day, the other day is me, Maddie, and Barry Silver on a phone call because we're showing him around Decentraland for a bunch of investors, just like this, but basically just like Maddie and him talking. I'm on mute. I'm just running the situation as far as like streaming and stuff like that. Not even that. No, I was like the backup cameraman and kind of like Vanna White to Maddie, like, look at this. But like, I remember that was when I had that moment, like, what the fuck am I doing here, yo? Seriously, like, how did I end up here, you know? But it was great, and it was, and all this stuff has been amazing, you know?
It's not one rabbit hole. It's like tens, if not hundreds. It's like people in the crypto arts NFT space don't necessarily know everything that's happening in the DAO space, don't know necessarily everything that's happening in the DeFi space. Like to be able to keep up with all that stuff at the speed at which it's moving, it's a full-time job. And it's
absolutely,
like,
yeah. I mean, this has become my full-time job, just being whatever you, like this ambassador, because I don't even know what to, I had buddy DSM, right, hit me up, and he's like got this project, and he's like, hey, can you like give me a description of your business? And you know, I don't know what to call it no more. We gonna call this radio? This ain't radio no more. You know, like this was radio a week ago. You know, we moved on. That was a year ago. You know, that's what it feels like. You know, so it's like such a whirlwind. But again, like being a part of this just feels like something special's happened. You know what I mean? And it's not just Decentraland, although I love Decentraland to death. You know what I mean? I'm literally all in. But at the same time, like all of it, man. Like everybody that's involved in all their own projects and they're you know going so hard for them. I just, you know, I want everybody to succeed. You know what I'm saying? So I implore people to link up, just like me and Drew are doing right here, because this is how you make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to be on Drew's back now about wearables. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be, he's gonna be annoyed with me in the you know in the DMs. Like Frank, you don't need to send me a message every 40 minutes. You know?
We're at that level of development in the space where the ability to experience and like have a cool experience around like running around a virtual world and like talking with friends or like exploring some amazing build that's way more engaging and like resonant to most people than like, so this is a blockchain and this is how you mine it and this is how like the cryptographic algorithms work. You know, it's just like that's so far beyond.
Exactly. Like even with my buddies that I'm working on the Axie team with, right? I said, hey guys, like I'm gonna be able to in the future, not tomorrow, but you know soon, I'm gonna be able to take your Axies, turn them into 3D models, put them in front of your stream, and people are gonna be able to like idolize your Axie, you know, in a certain way. Like they're gonna recognize your screen because of a 3D model, you know. Same time, like my other friend who's a streamer, I'm gonna be working with him. He's not just gonna be doing. He might not, I don't even know if he's ever gonna play Axie, you know, but he's got a good following in his own right. So I'll just make a 3D model of his logo, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, this is the stuff that we can do now. So essentially, like, this is the 3D internet, you know, and that's how you got to look at it. And now we got links. I think that I think links, as simple as an idea of it is, it literally changes it from Decentraland to the 3D internet, because now you can just
My
do stuff, you know.
my favorite actually is too the spatializing of it all, which I was talking about earlier,
Mm.
where one of the members of the Metafactory signature brand, Jin, goes
Mm.
by like Dank VR. You guys might have seen him. I don't
Yeah,
know how much he's involved with Decentraland yet, but like, guy is like VR wizard,
yeah.
awesome.
You saying Jin? I think Jin's around. I think Jin's been around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he, he um he has like his whole desktop is
Mm.
like a 3D world. It's like a VR space
Whoa.
that and he creates basically he drops like desktop shortcuts or like as TVs around his like world, and it creates basically like a memory map, so he knows like, oh yeah, the my link to Decentraland is that TV downstairs sitting
Oh,
on the thing, and like it's just
that's
like anything else,
bananas.
like but
Uh,
instead of a flat browser, it's like 3D space. It's like everything's
yeah.
spatialized. So it's like
Yeah.
this like, again, the memory map to be able, first of all, that's way
So is
better.
he always
It,
in a VR headset, or is it like?
well, they work from like desktop still, but it's just like with like Decentraland, right? You're running
Yeah.
around and like you're interfacing with a 3D world from like a
Yeah.
2D space. But yeah, he's in VR all the time too. But
Wow.
just so the links are now actual physical, like, or 3D objects,
Mm.
which are like in 3D space,
Yeah.
which, you know, so it just keeps
So
going.
I wanna finish up pretty soon, but I do want to get into one thing, because this is what I told my best friend Marcus, right? I was like, listen, man, because we had found HoloLens a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, when I think we all kind of, if we're in this space, if you don't know what HoloLens, go take a look. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into that. It's basically augmented reality, but it's expensive. And um, so what I said was like, when HoloLens becomes cheap enough and light enough to have a regular person use, and then Decentraland gets advanced enough to use HoloLens, this is gonna be like the what do you call it? The singularity, you know what I mean, of the
Yeah.
metaverse. You know what I mean?
That's when you get to that point where I was joking about before. It's like, all right, honey, going to work. Like,
Yep. And it's not
on
gonna
the
be like
couch.
bloop. It's gonna be like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, or yeah, it's
yeah. And
like,
like for real, like it's gonna be probably one day where I can have a physical Bitcoin glasses that are actually my AR glasses.
what's yeah, or like these guys too, like Jin, another crazy thing he's doing. He's in VR and he's like, there's a headset on the table in VR that he puts on in VR to give him AR in VR. Like,
Okay, Jen. Okay, Jen.
yeah,
You gotta talk.
it's like it makes sense. Like, it's all software. Of course, you can do that, but
My
just
last
like
my last note is talk to Jen.
yeah, I'll intro you guys. I'll definitely intro you guys. But like
Yeah,
the UX of just that, like
yeah,
AR in V, like of course, like,
yeah.
but it's just like I saw that happen. I was just like, whoa, like you got to like that in and of itself is just like
Wow.
it's
I
cool.
gotta get with him. I'd like to see his screen here. You know,
Yeah.
I would be that'd be a lot of fun, and I think that would help our guys understand the
What's
potential of what we're talking about here. You know,
Yeah, what's great is he'll take you on the journey into
I've
like the
heard.
greater VR chat
Yeah,
world, which is like the non-blockchain piece, but
yeah,
like it shows like where those guys are going, and again, like that in and of itself is coming to a convergence between like where what we're dabbling with like blockchain based Web3 based virtual worlds, and like what VR chat and all these other virtual worlds, like, you know, there are hundreds of these things, like,
exactly.
so you know, maybe say 15 like prominent, and like most of them are even like, again, culturally specific and
Yep,
whatnot, but
yep,
like
yep.
it's to see that it's just like it's like, okay, this is where we're going. Like virtual market 4, which just happened, I mean, I don't even know if you could have even walked through that whole thing in the time. There were like thousands and thousands of exhibitor booths, like eight
Where was
different
that?
types of booths in VR chat.
In
Like
VR
it
chat.
was
Okay, okay. Because I went through something when so we were taking these like field trips to Second Life. Me and Maddie and I-Man was coming with us, Anorak, and I think Will was with us. And there was like this big expo thing going on. It was something similar where I was like, you could probably not even walk through this thing. Like this is pretty big, you know?
and it's like Audi,
Yeah,
Mercedes Benz, Netflix,
Yeah.
like all these major brands had booths and crazy exhibitions and all these crazy experiential things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like, yeah, we're just scratching the surface.
Getting
We're
there.
just scratching.
Hey Joe, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here. I'm gonna have to have you come back sometime soon. I'm gonna be hounding you about wearables, and I would love to talk to Jin sometime soon. But
Yeah, I'll intro you guys.
yeah,
He does like metaverse mixer, like walkthrough and tours and stuff.
yeah,
So
I'd love
yeah,
to just
definitely
like
up for all.
broadcast that, and I think it would
Yeah,
be a great thing for everybody to take a look at. So let's
yeah,
stay
and
in touch. Let's just
yeah,
continue doing what we're doing because I feel like that's what we're on the right path. I think that
for sure.
going along the road here, especially with these wearables, that we'll figure something out for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to be involved in all those conversations, help progress the space. Like
Mm-hmm.
we only want to like improve things, right? So
No, yeah, and I see what it is, and I hope that whoever got a chance to watch this sees what it is, because it's something that's I always thought that was going to be what would break it would break the mold of we're just a video game, because I never thought that, from
yeah,
the inception. I was like, I don't think that this is just a video game. As soon as you were having an ownership of a space in the game that couldn't be taken away from you,
yep,
that changes everything.
yep.
All right, Joe.
Exciting
I'm gonna.
stuff, man.
What's that?
This has been a great time chatting. I'm happy to come
Absolutely,
back, man.
absolutely. A pleasure talking with you, and thank you very much. I want to thank Boss, the Tamanoya Casino, and Decentral Games for putting this on. I appreciate you guys. Everybody, thank you very much for coming to see me. Yeah, and do one of those. Do one of those for me. All right, man. Pleasure talking to you. Let's get together sometime soon. Yeah.
Sounds good. Cheers,
All
man.
right. Awesome.